Namaskar. I'm going to read my notes today because I want to be precise and I don't want the vlog to be too long. So here goes. At the foremost, I sincerely apologize for the moaning and groaning I was doing in my last vlog about my not being well. I have been so out of touch recently with world affairs that I totally lost touch, as it were, with reality and forgot that there were people in India and other parts of the world whose lives have greater suffering, pain and loss than mine. A recent post from the Gaza Poets Society jolted me into another realm of anguish and questions. What can I do for the Palestinians? My country comes down very strongly, very heavily on this issue, and we can't even protest publicly, raise our voices, or even display the Palestinian flag. I don't have the funds and the means to send aid. So what do? Our government, on the other hand, happily stays away from taking a stand against the genocide and has no hesitation whatsoever, or shame for that matter, in increasing trade links with Israel. So my vlog, this one and some in the past, are my expression of support. I stand firm with the people of Palestine and hope that some of my subscribers, however small in number, will have the courage to say, "Free Palestine." So I did some research, and according to the Gaza Health Ministry and Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as of November 19, 2025, over 72,500 people, out of which 70,525 Palestinians and 2,109 Israelis have been reported killed in Gaza during this war, genocide. This, of course, does not include 248 journalists and media workers, 120 academics, and over 224 humanitarian aid workers. Scholars have estimated that 80% of Palestinians killed are civilians. A study by Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, which verified fatalities from 3 independent sources, found that 70% of the Palestinians killed in residential buildings or similar housing were women and children. At least 67 Palestinian children have been killed in Gaza since the so-called ceasefire between Israel and Hamas began on October 10, according to the United Nations Children's Agency. And the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu reiterated his opposition to an independent Palestine, saying, "There will be no Palestinian state," as simple as that. Palestinian children have borne the brunt of Israel's bombardment of Gaza, with UNICEF estimating last month that 64,000 children have been killed and injured in Israeli attacks since the war began in October 2023. Gaza has also become home to the largest cohort of child amputees in modern history, the humanitarian group said. In addition to the Israeli attacks, Palestinians across Gaza continue to struggle amid Israel's continued restriction on deliveries of humanitarian aid, including tents needed to shield displaced families during the colder winter months. And what could be more poignant and painful than a poem, a piece written by Ruba Al-Faleet? They call it Ceasefire. They call it ceasefire, my friend. They hung a new word above our heads, ceasefire. A thin paper lantern trembling in a wind that never stops. From far away, it must look like a small light, but here, up close, you can see the flame inside it is eating the paper. They say the war is resting, but the sky still sleeps with its boots on, and every drone circling above us is a reminder that even silence has teeth. In this so-called ceasefire, we move like shadows who have forgotten the direction of the sun. The strip has become a narrow throat, and we are all learning to breathe. To breathe through the smallest crack of air. You cannot take one step without asking the wind for permission. The roads curve around absence. The borders behave like a jealous lover who would rather cage you than lose you. My friend, they open the crossing the way a fist opens, reluctantly, ready to close again the moment hope dares to blink. In the markets, everything feels borrowed. Flour measured like secrets, tomatoes bruised by the journey, sugar that arrives as though apologizing for existing. Prices climb the wall like lizards, quick and impossible to catch, and the people with no home, they walk with the posture of torn flags, upright, but carrying the wind inside their bones. Their tents inhale rain, exhale despair, and still stand like small lungs refusing to collapse. The world thinks genocide is only the sound of buildings falling, but there is another kind, the slow one, the quiet one, where the living are peeled away layer by layer until even the shadows look tired. Let me tell you about today. I spent hours performing the rituals of primitive life, shaping fire like an ancient prayer, washing dishes with water that remembers cold better than warmth, cooking in pots that feel older than the century, sweeping dust that keeps returning as if it is trying to tell me it has nowhere else to go. There is no electricity here, except the spark of exhaustion in our bodies when we try to charge ourselves. The same way we charge our phones briefly, desperately, searching for a socket in a world of dead walls. Sometimes even the act of boiling water feels like negotiating with fate. They call it ceasefire. But my friend, what kind of ceasefire lets the rain drown the tents while the world looks the other way? What kind of ceasefire asks us to swallow hunger as if it were a form of patience? The war has not left. It has only removed its uniform and put on a quieter task. It walks beside us every day, touching our shoulders lightly as if to remind us that it still knows our names. And still we endure. We gather the little light we find, fold it carefully into our pockets, and walk forward as people who refuse to let the paper lantern go out. Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free Palestine!